So I think we're only really just starting to tap in to the possibilities that the energetic realm, that the spiritual realm offer us as human beings. You know, we're quite cut off to our supernatural self, but I still think we're only in the kindergarten stages of what is really possible when we tap into that and we connect to that. And I think I've always had the ability to move into different dimensional spaces and places because I'm willing to suspend my human belief. I'm willing to put that aside, the beliefs that we hold as human beings, that if I can't see it and touch it, it's not real. And so because I've been able to sort of shift that belief and focus out of the way, it's enabled me to access realms, it's enabled me to access energies that perhaps seem out of reach to other people. And not because I'm special or anything like that, but just because I'm willing to be curious, I'm willing to set aside my own beliefs and my own structures as a human being. And I'm willing to travel to these energies and allow them to speak to me and allow them to present to me in the way that they want to, without my filter of what I believe should be correct or right according to a human being. And because of that, I know one thing that comes to mind is when I had a client's dad, he was in a coma. And now I'd never done anything like that where I'd connected to the other side to someone who's in a coma or anything, or into that spiritual realm. And you know, they were desperate. They had come to me for regular healings, and the family and the dad being in the hospital was really scary to them. And basically the doctors and the nurses were saying they're going to turn off the machine soon because he's not responding. It's like, you know, he's just about ready to go, basically. And so they were saying their goodbyes, all the family are up there, and I got this urgent message at like, I think it was 10 o'clock at night, something like that, and I just happened to look at my phone and saw it, and they were like, is there anything you can do? Anything. And so I'm always a believer, and I teach my students this, that we can either do something or we can do nothing, right? And I'm not about doing nothing. I'm always a believer in, if I'm coming from the right intention and I do something, I get curious and I'm willing to play in that realm and suspend my own disbelief around what's possible, then magic can happen. Then miracles can happen, good things can happen, you know, and whatever's in alignment with that person's soul, then I'm okay with that, you know, that I did my best. And so of course I said, yes, I will do what I can. So I went into the spiritual realm, into the energy space. I went into like a trance and connect like I would just in a regular healing session that I would do. And so I connected to him and I started to do healing on him. And I thought, what about if I try and connect to his consciousness and tap into that part of him that's not present right now in the body? And I got to see that he'd actually left his body, and there was only a fine kind of energy line that was still holding him to his body. And so I connected to him and I literally just spoke to him in that energetic realm and was asking him if there was anything that I could do to help him and assist him, and to let him know that I could see him and I was there for him, and that all his family were here. And we had a great chat around, you know, if he wanted to come back, and if he did want to come back, then that's his choice, and that I was there to assist him. And so I basically eased his energy, help him ease his energy and his consciousness back into the body. He said he wanted to come back, and that was that. And I finished off my healing. I let them know that I've done this work on him. And then it was around 2 hours later, it was midnight, when I heard back, and they said he'd opened his eyes. And I can still remember that like it was yesterday. And that was probably, oh my gosh, about 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And I've done it again once since then with another gentleman a husband of a client who had a heart attack and was in a coma. And the same thing, he was unresponsive for days. I did a similar process with him, and he opened his eyes and came around because he wanted to come back in his body. So these experiences have really shown me that there's so much more to us, to energy, than what we believe. And if we're willing to suspend our belief and our rigid rules and structures around, no, it's this way, it can only be this way, if I can see it and touch it, then that's real. If we're willing to suspend that, and we're willing to do something, we're willing to go, you know what would happen? What's the worst that can happen if I say I'm going to go in and connect to this person's energy and have a chat with them? What's the worst that can happen? They pass over anyway? Or maybe I do something good, and maybe I do connect to them. And so the more we start to look at life in this way, in a way of maybe I can do something, maybe I can get curious, and I can tap into a part of me that I don't realize is available to me. And I can suspend that belief, and I can suspend all the thoughts that don't match what I'm about to do, and allow those energies to speak to me in a pure, clear way, and see what happens.